Whoa, 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 wake up with Wake.
Chapter 25. How to avoid fatigue and keep looking young. One day last autumn, my associate flew up to Boston to attend a session of one of the most unusual medical classes in the world. Medical? Well, yes, it meets once a week at the Boston dispensary, and the patients who attend it get regular and thorough medical examinations before they're admitted. But actually, this class is a psychological clinic. Although it's officially called a class in applied psychology, formerly the thought control class, a name suggested by the first member, its real purpose is to deal with people who are ill from worry, and many of these patients are emotionally disturbed housewives. How did such a class for worriers get started? Well, in 1930, Dr. Joseph H. Pratt, who, by the way, had been a pupil of Sir William Osler, observed that many of the outpatients who came to the Boston dispensary apparently had nothing wrong with them physically, yet they had practically all the symptoms that flesh is heir to. One woman's hands were so crippled with arthritis that she'd lost all use of them. Another was in agony with all the excruciating symptoms of cancer of the stomach. Others had backaches, headaches, were chronically tired, or had vague aches and pains. They actually felt these pains. But the most exhaustive medical examination showed that nothing whatever was wrong with these people, in the physical sense. Many old-fashioned doctors would have said it was all imagination, all in the mind. But Dr. Pratt realized that it was no use to tell these patients to go home and forget it. He knew that most of these people didn't want to be sick. If it was so easy to forget their ailments, they would do so themselves. So, what could be done? He opened this class to a chorus of doubts from the medical doubters on the sidelines, and the class worked wonders. In the years that have passed since it started, thousands of patients have been cured by attending it. Some of the patients have been coming for years, as religious in their attendance as though going to church. My assistant talked to a woman who has hardly missed a session in more than 9 years. She said that when she first went to the clinic, she was thoroughly convinced she had a floating kidney and some kind of heart ailment. She was so worried and tense that she occasionally lost her eyesight and had spells of blindness. Yet today she's confident and cheerful and in excellent health. She looked only about 40, yet she held one of her grandchildren asleep in her lap. I used to worry so much about my family troubles, she said, that I wished I could die. But I learned at this clinic the futility of worrying. I learned to stop it, and I can honestly say now that my life is serene. Dr. Rose Hilferding, the medical advisor of the class, said that she thought one of the best remedies for lightening worry is talking your troubles over with someone you trust. We call it catharsis, she said. When our patients come here, they can talk their troubles over at length until they get them off their minds. Brooding over worries alone and keeping them to oneself causes great nervous tension. We all have to share our troubles. We have to share worry. We have to feel there is someone in the world who is willing to listen and able to understand. My assistant witnessed the great relief that came to one woman from talking out her worries. She had domestic worries, and when she first began to talk, she was like a wound-up spring. Then, gradually, as she kept on talking, she began to calm down. At the end of the interview, she was actually smiling. Had the problem been solved? No, it wasn't that easy. What caused the change was talking to someone, getting a little advice and a little human sympathy. What had really worked the change was the tremendous healing value that lies in words. Psychoanalysis is based to some extent on this healing power of words. Ever since the days of Freud, analysts have known that a patient could find relief from his inner anxieties if he could talk, just talk. Why is this so? Maybe because by talking, we gain a little better insight into our troubles, get a better perspective. No one knows the whole answer, but all of us know that spitting it out or getting it off our chests brings almost instant relief. So the next time we have an emotional problem, why don't we look around for someone to talk to? I don't mean, of course, to go around making pests of ourselves by whining and complaining to everyone in sight. Let's decide on someone we can trust and make an appointment. Maybe a relative, a doctor, a lawyer, a minister or priest. Then say to that person, I want your advice. I have a problem and I wish you would listen while I put it in words. You may be able to advise me. You may see angles to this thing that I can't see myself. But even if you can't, you'll help me tremendously if you will just sit and listen while I talk it out. Talking things out, then, is one of the principal therapies used at the Boston dispensary class. But here are some other ideas we picked up at the class, things you can do in your home. 1. Keep a notebook or scrapbook for inspirational reading. Into this book, you can paste all the poems or short prayers or quotations which appeal to you personally and give you a lift. Then, when a rainy afternoon sends your spirits plunging down, perhaps you can find a recipe in this book for dispelling the gloom. Many patients kept such notebooks for years. They said it was a spiritual shot in the arm. 2. Don't dwell too long on the shortcomings of others. One woman at the class who found herself developing into a scolding, nagging, and haggard-faced wife was brought up short with the question, "What would you do if your husband died?" She was so shocked by the idea that she immediately sat down and drew up a list of all her husband's good points. She made quite a list. Why don't you try the same thing the next time you feel you married a tyrant? Maybe you will find after reading your spouse's virtues that he or she is a person you'd like to meet. 3. Get interested in people. Develop a friendly, healthy interest in the people who share your life. One ailing woman who felt herself so exclusive that she hadn't any friends was told to try to make up a story about the next person she met. She began in the bus to weave backgrounds and settings for the people she saw. She tried to imagine what their lives had been like. First thing you know, she was talking to people everywhere, and today she's happy, alert, and a charming human being, cured of her pains. 4. Make up a schedule for tomorrow's work before you go to bed tonight. The class found out that many people feel driven and harassed by the unending round of work and things they must do. They never got their work finished. They were chased by the clock. To cure this sense of hurry and worry, the suggestion was made that they draw up a schedule each night for the following day. What happened? More work was accomplished, much less fatigue, a feeling of pride and achievement, and time left over for rest and enjoyment. 5. Finally, avoid tension and fatigue. Relax, relax. Nothing will make you look old sooner than tension and fatigue. Nothing will work such havoc with your freshness and looks. My assistant sat for an hour in the Boston Thought Control class while Professor Paul E. Johnson, the director, went over many of the principles we've already discussed in the previous chapter, the rules for relaxing. At the end of 10 minutes of these relaxing exercises, which my assistant did with the others, she was almost asleep sitting upright in her chair. Why is such stress laid on this physical relaxing? Because the clinic knows, as other doctors know, that if you're going to get the worry kinks out of people, they've got to relax. Yes, you have got to relax. Strangely enough, a good hard floor is better to relax on than an inner spring bed. It gives more resistance. It's good for the spine. All right then, here are some exercises you can do. Try them for a week and see what you do for your looks and disposition. A. Lie flat on the floor whenever you feel tired. Stretch as tall as you can. Roll around if you want to. Do it twice a day. B. Close your eyes. You might try saying, as Professor Johnson recommended, something like this. The sun is shining overhead. The sky is blue and sparkling. Nature is calm and in control of the world. And I, as nature's child, am in tune with the universe. Or, better still, pray. C. If you cannot lie down because you can't spare the time, then you can achieve almost the same effect sitting down in a chair. A hard, upright chair is the best for relaxing. Sit upright in the chair like a seated Egyptian statue. Let your hands rest, palms down, on the tops of your thighs. D. Now, slowly tense the toes, then let them relax. Tense the muscles in your legs, and let them relax. Do this slowly upward with all the muscles of your body until you get to the neck. Then let your head roll around heavily, as though it were a football. Keep saying to your muscles, as in the previous chapter, let go, let go. E. Quiet your nerves with slow, steady breathing. Breathe from deep down. The yogis of India were right. Rhythmical breathing is one of the best methods ever discovered for soothing the nerves. F. Think of all the wrinkles and frowns in your face and smooth them all out. Loosen up the worry creases you feel between your brows and at the sides of your mouth. Do this twice a day, and maybe you won't have to go to a health club to get a massage. Maybe the lines will disappear from the inside out.
I'm just not going to fall prey to that common stuff. What do you do in the morning? Well, 2 hours in the morning, that's a lot of time. Well, if I can overcome myself at the beginning of the day, the rest of my day is easy. Right?
That's what you do. You spend 2 hours in the morning.
I allow for 2 hours.
Okay. You still get up at 4 a.m. and that.
Well, this morning I was up at 3.
Okay.
Because I'm on the wrong time zone.
Right.
But if I'm up,
you like the 4 a.m. slot
because my brain waves are just right. I don't have to work as hard. Yeah, my body's a little fatigued, but I'm between worlds. And so I my body's a little tired, but I get up and do it. And to me, I allow for 2 hours. Sometimes I can nail it in 45 minutes or an hour, and sure, I'm done. Other times, I'm on the wrong time zone. I have meetings all day long. I got a lot going on, and I'm just not going to fall prey to that common state of thinking.
And that looks like meditation, affirmations in your mind, visualization.
It's the work that we do. It's the work that we do. And the first part in truly creating a new personal reality is overcoming your present personality. You got to get beyond the normal thinking patterns, the normal urges of action and habits, to get beyond certain emotions that are residuals from the day before. That's the work right there. That's the part you have to overcome. So some days you just kind of slip in and it's magic because you've been practiced, like having a great golf game or a great tennis game or a great run or a great session of knitting. You're in your groove. Other days you got to work a little bit more for it. And for me, what I've learned is those hard days, the days that are the most challenging, are always the most rewarding, because now you're uncompromising to an outcome. And if it takes you an hour to get beyond yourself, to find the present moment, because that's the only place where the unknown exists, the familiar emotions and hardwired patterns of the past are the known. The predictable future, in trying to forecast the feeling of every event in our life that people do unconsciously, is also the known. There's only one place where the unknown exists, and that's the present moment.
You call it the generous present moment.
Yeah, and I've just done it enough times, and there are plenty of people in our work that have done it enough times to know when you're there and when you're not.
Okay.
And when you're not, it's very obvious because you've been there enough times. So
you're separating your old story from yourself, and you're separating your focus on the future, and you're being present.
It's just like hitting a tennis ball in a sweet spot. You lock into something, and that wholeness starts to happen, and now you're no longer creating from polarity or duality or opposites. People they create when they see they don't have something. Whether, hey, nice suit, I want one of those, right? And the moment I see that you have a nice suit and I start thinking, I want one of those, my brain naturally starts putting me in the equation. Next thing you know, I'm wearing your suit. Well, that's because we're wired to do that. So then we have this natural ability to create. The problem is after you imagine that, you open your eyes and you don't have it, people experience more lack. Well, we're not that good yet. So then the act of practicing enough times and beginning to create the state in which you're so connected to the energy of your future. Now think about this. You're so connected to the energy of your future, you're no longer looking for it or waiting for it. You feel like it's already happened. The moment you get upset in traffic, the moment you start judging a coworker, you just disconnected from the energy of your future, and now you're back to the energy of your past. Now, if you tell me it was that person that did it to you, I'd say to you, oh, you're back to the unconscious program of being a victim again. So then the person then goes, oh, when did I fall from, that state? When did I lose it? Oh, it happened at 3 o'clock today. The next time that happens, what can I do differently? Now the person's moving through their challenges in their life with coherence, with rhythm. They're starting to begin to make strides, and that they're no longer knee-jerking to the people in their life that they've used emotionally to reaffirm their identity. Now, this is the work because you look around to see if anybody's doing it, and you don't see anybody else doing it. It's kind of this kind of lonely moment where you're realizing that I'm the only one doing this. That's that kind of moment that you realize that nobody understands you but you, right? And you can't even ask your friends for their opinion because they're going to give you their opinion based on their own experiences. And it's that kind of moment where you have to draw in all your resources and begin to make up your mind. And I've interviewed hundreds and hundreds of people that have healed themselves from all kinds of health conditions. And one of the most important elements that I see over and over again is when a person said, I just got to this point in my life where I made up. Take a moment and find your center. Inhale. Become aware of your breath. And exhale. And relax. Instead of the memories of the past, it's time to be defined by a vision of the future. And to move into a new state of being. And now, can you become aware of the space between your ears in space? And now, can you sense the space beyond your ears? In space. attention to the space in the center. Of the energy of space around your throat, beyond your neck, in space. And now, can you rest your awareness in space? Behind your breastbone, in space. And can you feel the volume of space beyond your shoulders, in space? And now, can you sense the space between your shoulders and the room you're in? In space. Can you become aware that you're aware in space? And now, what was that vision of the future that awaits you? be defined by that intention and select that potential that already exists in the field. Being defined by a vision of the future instead of the memory of the past means that you're ahead of your time. Take your hand and place it over your heart. In a moment, take a breath and have compassion and care, kindness towards your beautiful self, giving thanks for a new life. And the longer you linger in gratitude, the more you draw your new life to you. And if in fact you emulated the divine today and made contact with it, that you ask for a sign from this consciousness, and that it bring it to you in a way that you least expect, that surprises you, and that it leaves no doubt that it came from this mind. And that you are inspired to do it again and again when it finds you in an unexpected way. And now bring your awareness back to a new body. To a new environment. And to a whole new time.